Hello, my name is Kayleen Kilzer. The title of my speech is A Daughter's Wedding Speech. The specific purpose is to entertain my audience on a true story that happened the summer of 2012. September 2014, the month my father will marry my new stepmom, Jolene. He asked me to write a speech at their wedding. I had no idea where to start. Many ideas, sad and funny stories, ran through my mind. But nothing stuck out to me as much as the time we took a trip to Rapid City together. This 3.5-hour trip became a lot longer than we had expected. There were many bumps in the road, but in the end it made for a lasting memory. It all started July 27, 2012, the day before Jolene's niece's wedding. The rehearsal dinner was at 6 p.m., but we only lived 3.5 hours away from Rapid City, so we were in no rush to get there. We were leaving whenever Jolene's twin sister and her family showed up at the farm. They arrived at about 11 a.m., so we loaded the rest of the stuff in the pickup and camper and headed down to Rapid City, Janelle and her family following us in their car. Everyone got hungry when we arrived in Lemon, South Dakota, and may I let you all know that is only 18 miles from our farm. So we stopped for a quick bite and bathroom break. Brandon, Janelle's son, decided to buy scratch-offs instead of getting food at that stop. Stop number 2 happened only 13 miles south of Lemon at Shade Hill. The trim on our camper started falling off, so we fixed it while Brandon ran into the gas station to use the bathroom and get something to eat because he was too busy gambling the first time. We were able to make it 52 more miles before we got to stop number 3. This stop is where we traded walkie-talkies because there is little service on the highways we took. We started playing around with them, talking on them too much. Suddenly, only about 20 miles further, they tell us to pull over. We had a flat tire on the camper. Stop number 4. So we pulled over on the side of the road, Janelle's car behind us. But my dad didn't want to change the tire there. We saw an approach only a fourth a mile up the road. He told them to meet us there, and we will change the tire on flat ground. So we drove up to the approach to change the tire. We noticed we did not have a jack or T-wrench, so we had to flag down another camper that had one. Meanwhile, the car hadn't moved from a fourth mile down the road from us. My brother had walked down there to inform us that their car wouldn't start. Finally, at about a half an hour changing the tire, we turned the camper around and headed back to the car on the side of the road. My dad and the guy from the other camper tried to figure out what was wrong with it, but no luck. We called for a tow truck with the little service we have, and they say it will be at least an hour until one gets to us. So we lounge around on the side of the road while the parents still try to figure out what went wrong. After 3 hours of sitting on the side of the road, we finally canceled the tow truck, ditched the car to have our hired hands come pick it up the next day, and everyone hops in the pickup with the 3 boys, my brother, Brandon, and Brandon's brother, Brian, in the camper. At this point, we knew we were going to miss the rehearsal dinner, so we decided to munch on the food we had brought for it. We started on the road again. Everyone was trying to call us, asking where we are and why we weren't there already. As we started laughing about the fun experience we had already had on this trip, we hear a pop. We pull over to find another tire had blown. Stop number 5. It's now 4:30 p.m., and the closest town to us is 35 miles away, and we don't have another spare. My dad and Jolene ditch the camper and us on the side of the road and head to Newell to find some place that is still open on a Friday afternoon to fix our tires. And about an hour and a half later, they arrive back with a new tire, jack, and T-wrench, and said the shop is going to stay open for us to come back to put a new tire on the camper. Let me just add that the only reason they were there on a Friday afternoon was because they were staying at the shop drinking when they heard the call. So we arrive in Newell at about 6:30 p.m. They put another tire on our camper and get us on our way. Next stop didn't happen until Sturgis. We wanted to buy t-shirts because the rally was going on then. After that, we made it all the way to Rapid City without a stop. We get to Jolene's niece's place at about 9:30 p.m. that night. As my dad backs the camper into spot, he ends up jackknifing it and puts a dent in his pickup. Everyone ends up laughing about how a 3.5-hour trip turned into an 11-hour trip, and how unlucky we were. But at least we made it. This was one of the most entertaining trips we have ever had, and probably will ever have going to Rapid City. A quote I remember from this trip. Well, at least we all like each other, because this trip wouldn't have been too much fun if you went with someone you didn't like. So the moral of this story is, always travel with people you like. Nah, always leave earlier than planned, because some things just don't turn out the way you planned. And also, don't assume the worst is over, because more can still happen. I hope I continue to have good times with my family and new stepmom. I believe this journey made us closer. Everything happens for a reason. Welcome to the family, Jolene.